Good evening and welcome to this March 13th edition of the Writers Guild Spoken Word Series. Myself, my name is Tony Brewer, and along with Kyle Kloss and Joan Hawkins, we produced this series on behalf of the Writers Guild at Bloomington. Thank you so much for being here. We are sponsored in part by the Indiana Arts Commission, the Bloomington Arts Commission, and the Bloomington Urban Enterprise Association. The Writers Guild at Bloomington wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities native to this region and recognize that Indiana University in the city of Bloomington is built on indigenous homelands and resources. We recognize the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people as past, present, and future caretakers of this land. I only have three things to talk about. One is the Third Sunday Write, which you already know about. It's a virtual space where you can find writing prompts and the company of other writers. There's a private Facebook page where you respond to prompts that are posted monthly. You can write a post at any time during the month and offer a response by sharing a line from their piece in the comments. For more information, write to Shauna Ritter at shauna747@gmail.com. Also want to mention coming up last Sunday poetry reading and open mic, Sunday, February 29th, right?
It's
Last
March
year.
30th.
No, March 30th, right. Yeah, March 30th. I don't know. I can't read my own writing. Sunday, March 30th, right. At 7 o'clock, right here in Bloomington at the Morgenstern Books at 849 South Automobile Road, featuring a double book launch by our own Hiromi Yoshida and myself, Tony Brewer. It is also the last reading in a mini tour that myself and Brooke Nicole Plummer are going to be on here at the end of the month. And so I hope you all come out for that. Also an open mic. The only other thing really is our business meeting, which I believe is April 5th. I didn't confirm with April, but I think April, who is the chair of the Writers Guild, not the month. I believe the next business meeting is Saturday, April 5th at 3 o'clock at the Monroe County Public Library, room 214, and also on Zoom. And be sure and come back next time at the Spoken Word Series. Man, I didn't do any of the dates in here. So it's April, I think it's April 12th. Sorry, I didn't know.
It'll be in the email.
I know, yeah. April 10th, God. Fail. April 10th, Thursday, April 10th, right back here at Backspace Gallery, featuring fantastic poets Thomas Nealon and Marilyn Wolfe. That's going to be a fantastic reading. Marilyn has a new book out. And that's it. All this info is available on our website or by liking or follow us on Instagram or Facebook, or check out, sign up for our newsletter by visiting our website, writersguildbloomington.com. And that is enough for me. I want to get right to it. We've got a fantastic couple of features tonight. Christine joining us from Columbus, and A.S. Coomer, Drew Cooper, joining us all the way, from Kentucky. First, I want to bring up our musical guest who's going to do a couple songs for us, Nicholas Graham Hall. Take it away.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
I met Tony and Hiromi, is that right? I had them as guests. I do host monthly house concerts at my place over by Switchyard Park. Mostly it's musicians, but I love to have poets as well. So if you're interested, and I have potluck and it's just community, so if you're interested, talk to me in between breaks. And I'm actually going to be in this space on First Friday, May 2nd for art exhibit. My friend's going to be in the front, I'm going to be back here, so love this space. I'm in the right place because I started taking like guitar lessons in my 30s, like 5 years ago. No, a few more than that. But I've always liked writing. It always comes out as kind of sing-song poetry. It's just how it comes out. And so I'm always writing, and I enjoy putting a few chords to it. And this first one's called No One Knows. Kind of in the spirit of kind of working class hero, I guess. Kind of that sort of a protest song. So. Been for good thoughts. What do you know? A nickel for a kiss, lips like a rose. Dime for a bag, it goes up in smoke. Yet no one knows where the money goes. Especially Doge, planting seeds row after row. GMOs, thanks Monsanto. There's no job left for the scarecrow. Yet no one knows where the wind blows. The air is thick with mosquitoes, crashing waves on the radio. From the Mississippi to the Ohio, and no one knows where the water flows. Heaven is set for those that think they know, and hell is ready for the rest of us, I suppose. Whether we rise above or sink below, no one knows where our soul goes. The concrete buildings fall like dominoes. The dead are buried, start to decompose. Screams for help amid the broken bones. No one knows where the crying goes. Your body's malnourished, brains overexposed, filled with abundance, yeah, anything goes. Headed straight to the cliff like buffaloes. And no one knows what our future holds. We build walls so we don't expose. We talk and talk with nothing to show. Fill buckets of hate till they overflow. And spread our opinions like assholes. And no one knows where any of this goes, but we pay a heavy price when we think we know, yeah. No one knows where any of this goes, but we pay a heavy price when we think we know. There's a lot of comments. Walls, buildings, chemicals, yeah. This is going to do one more, Tony, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is one I just wrote recently, and I actually, it's based on a poem that an ex sent to me, and I said, damn, that's really good. Do you mind if I use that? So it's got kind of the idea, but she writes more prose, so there weren't any rhymes, so I kind of had to play around and work with it a little bit to get some rhymes out of it. One set called Hurt. You are making things happen with your bullshit disposition, reeling in virtual interest as you swim in your new condition. And I'm permanent sunshine with flowers for brains, taking long naps on the porch and short walks in the rain. From a previous life, from a new love, impractical dreams and the shining stars above. You strum songs of rejection and being apart, but you just might be swinging a little too far. Avoiding clouds, the words come to you when you sing with a show of meaning old and new. And you look for another, see what you already know. Tell them what they wanna hear. Tears fall, and there you go. right. I'm scared to unplug that. I don't like with the guitar.
Hey.
Oh yeah, you want me to?
Oh, you got that? Yeah, it's on the far right, or far left, sorry.
Turn back on.
Yeah, please. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Am I coming out of both speakers? Are you hearing me out of both sides? Am I everywhere? Am I all around you? No, is it just that one?
Should just be that.
That's fine. It still takes a village of engineers. Thank you all for being here. And thanks to Nicholas. Wonderful. And we'll have more from Nicholas a little bit later. You know, we didn't actually talk about the order, but I think you go first? Is that, or you go next, or is that A.S. Coomer? You guys want to flip the coin real quick? I don't know why this is so haphazard. I've been away for a while, so that's probably partly why. But I'm feeling pretty casual about things. Is that better? Or are you going to dial me up? It continues to take a village of highly skilled engineers and audio artists making it work. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. So thank you all again for being here on this beautiful early, is it still early spring? Or is it actually spring now? We're going to get a cyclone this weekend. I don't know if you knew that.
There's a lunar eclipse tonight.
Lunar eclipse
A blood moon on top
and a
of
blood moon and a cyclone bomb, and it's good to be back home.
You brought it.
I do, yeah, I brought it back with me. Chris Dean is a storyteller, spoken word artist, and self-proclaimed Magpie Poet who writes from the heart of Indiana, where they live with their husband, dog, and too many cats to mention. Along with Wendy Cartwright, Chris is co-founder of Keeping the Flame Alive Press. Their work has been featured online in multiple print anthologies, and they are the author of 2 books of poetry, Tales from a Broken Girl and We're All Stories in the End, published by Storeylines Press. Please welcome Chris Dean. Say again? We can do the music sound? Oh, yeah, sure.
I promise I won't mess up.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's that's wrong. The other one.
Oh, it's all falling apart.
The other one. There you go.
This one, yeah.
Roll it.
We gotta be difficult.
Does that work? Yeah,
That's perfect.
We're fine. It's the mic, it's the music that's difficult. That's right.
Great, thank you. The world is tilting more on ahead. It shoves further up its own ass. And we're conditioned to smile and say thank you to whatever lies emerge from either end. We're conditioned to follow because sheep don't lead, to be passive without the will to object, and to never question their God-given authority because electoral votes equal consent. We are filled with anxiety that passes person to person, spreading one dull set of eyes at a time. But we're too distracted with vice and devices to put our finger on what's actually wrong. We have forgotten that knees weren't made for bending just because they tell us to kneel. Sorry. Taught to be grateful for whatever scraps were given. Pavlovian dogs raised and trained to heal. We live in the heart of darkness and proclaim it the light of the world. But our learned apathy is killing us slowly, one self-medicated overdose at a time. We need therapy to believe the shit smells like roses, wine, and happy pills. so we can pleasantly comply. We tell ourselves, this is what normal is, but this is how the soul of a nation dies. So thank you, Tony and the Writers Guild, for inviting me to be here tonight. If any of you tried to talk to me beforehand, you know just how incredibly awkward I am when I try and hold conversations. So I'll just read poetry. This one's called Old Ladies and Their Looms. I look at headlines and words jump off the pages. Ripped, divided, torn. And to think about my mother. I walk to work past throwaway people that life used harshly before using them up. And I think about her loom. My mother wove rag rugs, collecting cast-off clothes, outdated styles, ripped jeans, torn shirts. Things that no longer served their intended use still had use to her. I'd sit with my knitting, watching her cut away the stiff seams, saving every inch to tear into strips before binding them together into colorful balls. We'd talk while she worked, me knitting to a prescribed pattern, her making hers up, winding the shuttles with reclaimed denim and chenille to be remade into a new whole. My needles would click the knit pearl knit staccato while I watched her choose the warp, thick fingers threading the heddles, using the mathematics of love to ultimately pick the pattern that bound the rugs. Sometimes we'd sit in silence, me counting inches, while she counted inches and feet to the back and forth rhythm and the beating of the beam. We'd laughed as I ripped out my drop stitches and mistakes, thinking things had to be perfect and right. Her mistakes, though not many, became part of the weave, adding a unique beauty to every piece. At home, I'd fight with my finished piece, stretching and pulling as I blocked it into shape. In her basement, she tied and trimmed fringe before placing the rugs on a table to relax into their final size. My mother was a weaver, a practical woman who never threw anything away. She chose to remake the useless and beautify the ugly where others saw only trash. I look at the headlines and smile at the people I pass as I walk. And I am not thinking of ways of knitting things back together. I am daydreaming of old ladies weaving rag rugs on their looms. This one's called A Day of Rest. Today the mountain stopped, tired and lonely. It ceased its slow plod through the streets of the village, where its forward momentum left flattened houses and smashed cars in its wake. Today there was no need to sweep away the stones and dust that littered its path, and the women leaned on their brooms, relaxed in their relief. It was a day of rest for the grandmothers, whose job it was to keep the children safe, and the old men could smoke on their stoops without fear of being crushed. The fathers saw no difference. They still drink in the bars to forget that life was hard. Although, here and there, one would congratulate another on the fine job they'd done of putting the mountain in its place. next one is an older poem, but the weather this morning just kind of kicked me upside the head with it. And I am dedicating it to anyone who ever woke up and went, oh my God, I do not want to go to work. Sitting at a stop sign, white knuckle gripping the wheel, I wait. Because my foot won't let up on the pressure it's applying to the brake, any more than I'll let up on the pressure I'm applying to myself. Like every other morning, I look both ways. Left is dependable, an 8-minute drive to an expected day of work. But right calls to me. It seduces like that teenage boy you know is a bad idea. But he'll say the right words and smile that right smile. And even though in the end you'll just be a rest for his wrist and compost for the garden of bullshit he grows in locker room tales with his laughing friends, you'll still go for the endorphin rush, for the hope that someone finally sees the real you and the chance that this one might be different, even though you know he won't. So I sit, and the seconds tick by with each click of the turn signal. And the sound with its demand that I follow its lead becomes a weight crushing my will to move, while all around the outside of this tin can, the world is waking from its yearly winter's death, and the hum of sweet spring siren song vibrates in my bones, speaking to a wanderlust that spans generations, tickling memories of cartwheels on dirt roads and hopping train for the pure joy and freedom of simply going. I close my eyes and breathe in, willing my left foot to move just enough for the wheels to turn, silently asking myself, what if? Desperately longing to be lost, lost in the woods, lost in the world, lost in my dreams, to just be somewhere other than here. Then I exhale. My foot slides on its own, and I turn left. Because the truth is, I have grown too old to believe the seductions of teenage boys, and siren songs have lost their ability to compel me to roam. And dependable and expected are boring, but boring is better than lost. And driving towards another day with right in the rearview mirror, I already feel lost enough. So keeping with the thought of spring, hoping it's here to stay. This is 5 a.m. on a couch in rural Indiana. Frigid fingers of wind slip through the cracked window behind my head, tickling the hairs on the back of my neck. I can smell spring just around the corner, the way you could smell dinner from your room before mom called you to eat. I ignore my neck growing colder, lost in the thought that some small part of this morning's wind could have blown through the years, collecting particles and cells from everything it touched. How many trips around the globe could it have made just to come through my window at this place and time, trading molecules of history for some little part of me? I turn to breathe in as much of the air as my lungs can hold and think, I am inhaling tiny bits of everyone I have ever loved, pieces of people I have never known, and every single event that has happened in between. I'm shivering now, but open the window wider, allowing the world in to chill my coffee and numb my toes. It is 5 a.m., and the last of winter's wind is keeping me company on a couch in rural Indiana. And I am the least alone I will ever be. Last one, I promise. I came out of the dark where I wonder from time to time to feel the light as it falls on my skin, to lick it from my arms and lips, feel its warmth on my tongue as it slides to my belly, lighting fires of passion where it lands in the pit. I came out of the dark to eat the wind, snap at dragonflies and chase inspiration, a puppy playing fetch with words and ideas, all boundless energy to mark the world as mine. I came out of the dark to walk proudly through the day, to show the young age is not the enemy. Tits low, head high, to hold its hand down the sidewalk, two lovers in sync, to kiss its mouth and swallow its feel as we laugh in discomfort's face. I came out of the dark to put truth on the table, a dish whose flavor only comes when it's shared, served on rusty plates with gold forks and paper cups, always paired with a glass of gratitude, a bottle passed freely between winos in the park. I came out of the dark, leaving breadcrumbs behind, for friends to find, strangers to follow, for the birds of need to feed on the stale crumbs while singing, "This is life, exactly as it's meant to be." I came out of the dark, done with rest, shaking droplets of the cold from my fur, flicking bits of loneliness from my teeth, ready to wrap myself in the desires of the moment while going naked underneath, squatting to touch the earth, steady eyes empty from the night, and hungry to be filled with the pregnant now of today. Thank you guys so much.
Christine, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. We're doing a little featurette with Flow Poetry in Columbus at the Nifty Beat on the 25th, which is, if you're thinking about ever going to Columbus, you should go on Tuesday, March 25th. We're doing kind of a pop-up show with this fantastic poet who just happens to be on tour, kind of coming through, and we got him set up at the Nifty Beat. He goes by Flow Poetry, but he's an amazing. I saw him at a Mary Prankster's reunion show, and he's pretty fantastic. So if you get a chance to go to Columbus, that's the night to do it. I'm joking. You can go there at any point. But thank you once again, Christine. Next, I want to bring up, I think, our other feature, Drew Coomer. Do you go by Drew or AS? I know it's AS in your bio.
All my friends call me Drew. You can call me
Drew. Okay. I don't know if I've ever called you Drew or AS. It's like that guy.
Asshole.
You usually just like reply and then just start writing. That's mostly how it is. AS Coomer is. I should also mention there's a merch table out there. So when we do take a break after Nicholas has his set here in a little bit, take a little break, check out the merch table. Also somewhere, I thought it's up here on the front chair, is an open mic sign-up sheet floating around. If you're interested, we'll do an open mic to conclude the evening after all the features. So please welcome A.S. Coomer is a writer and musician. His books include Birth of a Monster, The Flock Unseen, Memorabilia, The Fetishists, and many others. He runs Lost, Long Gone, Forgotten Records, a record label, quote unquote, for poetry. Please welcome Drew Coomer.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah. All right. This one starts with a couple factoids. NPR let us know that Americans are reading fewer books per year than ever before. The time people spend reading has dropped steadily over the past 20 years. Whew. And Carl Sagan said books are key to understanding the world and participating in a democratic society. And Howard Nemerov said, in poetry, as steady, still, and rare as the lighthouses now unmanned and obsolete that used to mark America's dangerous shores. This poem is called To Give It All Away. We traded in our imaginations for HD TVs, twin dishes, stigmata, our pale palms. They put in wireless modems in the hollows in our mined-out chests, beams ones and zeros into our outdated hard drives, encoded languages we don't speak leap from our pixelated lips, where the digital spittle flecks and dribbles, puddles in our laps with the cooling piss. We mean beauty and sell it. Write meat quick at the internet swap meet for stock and private for-profit prisons and centillions and cryptocurrency. We binge watch cheap reality television and real-time body cam streams of the beatings we'll swear we never saw. We binge violence, purge kindness. We tune in irregularly scheduled brutality and might makes right programming where the burnished bronze collection plate never stops circulating. Where pinched pennies and wadded bills trickle down and become bullets and bombs, and Uncle Sam, the Reaper with teeth of skulls, singles us out with a steady shit-stained finger and asks for the last of our everything. And we call and clamor, claw over each other, trying to be the first to give it all away. Hey, thank you. Theodore Rothke said, I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go. This poem is called White Hoods and Red Hands. Who doesn't want to cling to the dream when the world's a burning pigsty? All eyes for an eye by the stone blind, religion and violence, hand in hand, white hoods and red hands, anyone different crucified. Crosses burned and prayers sent sailing, all for control over their neighbors and their children. Who isn't slow to wake when monsters run amok in the waking world, when criminals dictate the law, when the law denies personhood, when a human can be considered illegal, when love is criminalized, when people become numbers? When one dies, a tragedy. When millions die, mere statistics. One murder makes a villain, millions a hero. We all learn to sleep through the streaming. This one's called September Blue. The poem is the unbreakable wrench hurled into the meat grinder. Words leap like sparks, burst in the lines, stanzas spread like oil slick infernos, devouring page, air, wall, roof, and flesh. The tumult that brings down the slaughterhouse books, the crisp breeze carrying away the smolder smoke books. The tears flush ash as we read and write. We cough out the last batch of sobs and breathe in September blue, knowing the fire will be extinguished. The bodies and debris swept away, and a new slaughterhouse will eventually be built. Death must be fed. But through the song of words, we can revel in the reprieve and make Zen gardens from all the fucking bone dust. I like to travel. Tony likes to travel. We like to take our poems on the road. Nobody wants to hear them, but we're like, look at these. This one's about a trip I took to Ohio. It's called A Morning in Montpelier. I slept in the bed of my truck between two cornfields, woke to ducks and chickens, geese and might bite rounds pocking my ankles, wringing my wrists, making mounds as they burrow in. I peel the layers of skin with my cheese grater fingernails. I blink back the crusting mucus, feel it scratch my eyes, unzip my sleeping bag and my dreams, let in what cool air the corn sweat allows. Before the day boils over, I sneak in a cloud, lift above the corn, above the sun, feel myself purple with the dawn, open like a peony in this late summer haze, sway with the frayed flags and tired tulips, see me waylaid, a magnolia petal plashed down onto the page you were just getting ready to cry on. A point in time when the screaming was in tune, when the drinking was in company, when the drugging wasn't dangerous, and everything was beautiful, beautiful. The old hurt muted by all the new. I got 3 more. This one's called Of Ashes and Clay and Faded Tattoos. When every door becomes an exit, when every window blows open, take your cue and get carried away on the wicked winter breeze. Or, if it's the South, cut your way through wind and sore, humidity and wayward religion. Though we won't fire a shot, we'll leave wreckage in our wakes. Tecumseh Sherman every bridge, every semblance of enemy or home. Treated like kindling, desperate to keep the flame alive. We phoenix our wings and sing, spread our own ashes, release handfuls of glory into the sifting seed of our grief. Fill our graves before we're dead, build effigies of our heroes from the clay we make, all these idols we chase until we find them and they're just like us. Tribute, adornment, our homemade votive candles burned out in the middle of our last lifetime. We watch our tattoos age, scar over, fade. Sometimes we can't help but dig out bits of our ink just to watch the blood and scratch the splinters itch, just to pass the days and spill our hearts into the nights, make the pain fresh, like we're earning it again. 2 more, we do 2 more, right? You guys done it? Okay. Nobody's throwing shit, so this one's called Drowning in Holy Water. Jesus came back, turned all the water into liquid heroin, passed out clean spikes, self-administered stigmata, the syringe, the new cross we all must bear. This life of sin cleansed in our falls as the living waters have arisen too, sweet Jesus. And they lap at our knotty knees like the nagging sea, and we will be spilled from our cracked glass bodies. Our baptism of happenstance, where we must earn back the life we did not ask for. Fight against the Baptist hands, fight against tide and wave, fight against the rising runoff in this roadside gutter where we're on the nod, face down. It only takes a little over an inch of water to drown. We enter heaven daily through the crooks in our arms, between our scaly toes and crooked fingers. And as pure as these offerings are, today can be Judgment Day. Thank you. All right, I don't talk a whole lot. I usually just get up here. I'm a musician and a poet and a novelist, and I travel a lot and do this. If you like anything you hear, I've got a bunch of random books in there. There's thrillers, there's subversive literature, there's poetry, there's all kinds of stuff. And if you ask me questions, I may talk back. I may be sweaty, kind of weird, but I'll talk back. Anyway, last poem. Thank you for listening. Tony, thank you for putting this on. I really appreciate it. This one's called Letter from the Coliseum. To whom it may concern, you know who you are. I'm writing to you today from my minuscule cell inside the Coliseum, a cold concrete hole in the ground, damp from guard piss and spit, where I carve out each day with a bent spoon. I'm writing not to protest my incarceration, though it is heinous, but to come clean in the living waters of lexicon, a believer's baptism of complete immersion, where I take the half step from catatonia and leap from the cliff, a cannonball into the present whose arcing splash will slake the dry drowners of desiccating darkness, the blood sacrifice where I cleave free this purpled heart and wring it for all it holds, every drop a lover's prayer for grace, a hymn in the hymnal of suffering, for I have sipped another's heart's blood from many a desert valley, each word a swallow against dehydration, allowing me to crawl a little further, leaving Zen gardens to bloom in my wake. I'm writing you because there are no whippoorwills or weeping willows here, though the shrieks and screams of gladiators and peacocks reverberate as clear as midnight cathedral bells. Their music is wrenched metal, their songs clamorous and bleeding, filling me with an emptiness that strangles. I'm writing to you because I am a songbird without a flock, left circling round on clipped wings, no harmonies left to sing. I'm writing to you because I'll have no headstone, no great monument erected in my honor. They will not teach me to school children or read me in airport terminals or doctor's offices. They will not use my music to sell insurance or fast food. They will not buy the rights to my life or life's work. No one will tattoo their bodies in eulogy or acclaim or dedication. There will be no tribute albums or cover bands. No house drinks named after me. Like everyone else in this bardo, I will be forgotten and born new. I'm writing to you because I've been where you are now. I've slipped between the cracks others can't even see, just like you. I've sang my own songs to drown out the tinnitus of copycats, screamed out of blues in the faceless back alley in another nameless town in concert with the howling rain and whining wind, slurped from oily puddles, smoked stale herb from sodden hand-rolled cigarettes, finished half-empty fallen soldiers and poured out one for those that came before. I'm writing because I must, though I hear them coming for me now, coming for to take me to my fate. I hear the lion's psalm over the cacophonous wake of vultures. I hear the lions that came before this one. I hear the roar of the lions to come, the ones here to eat me now, the ones not yet born that will eat you. I hear them and do my best to be worthy of the spectacle ahead. With pure heart and stained hands, yours. Thank you.
Let's have another hand for Drew Coomer, folks. So I think now we'll have a longer set from Nicholas. Yeah. No, I know who you are. I was just like, oh, I gotta make your,
You gotta look it up on your phone.
I gotta fix your thing. So Nicholas is going to do a little bit longer set, do about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll take a break. We'll take a brief break, and you can enjoy some snacks and check out the merch table, and then we'll come back and have our open mic. So please give a big warm welcome to Nicholas Hall. Thank you.
Is it loud enough or is it louder?
Try again. Try a little more.
Alright. Thanks again, Tony, for inviting me
Yeah,
to lay. I appreciate it. It's called Tenderness. I know we tried our best, but now's not the time for us to second guess. Yeah, we had our heads up in the clouds, and just like that, raining with doubt. Could have loved a little more, could have cried a little less. It coulda, shoulda, and woulda. Yeah, let's try a little tenderness. Your life in a bubble, it's about to burst. Yeah, we're all doomed, a lover's curse. But we can't stop the unfolding of time. I got no regrets, we're one of a kind. Could have loved a little more, you could have cried a little less. Coulda, shoulda, and woulda. Yeah, let's try a little tenderness. When you close your eyes and listen to your heart, you'll know it's time for a fresh start. You could have loved a little more, you could have cried a little less. Coulda, shoulda, and woulda. Let's try a little tenderness. Thank you. Who doesn't have a little bit of a something going on right? I'm on the edge. It's the edge of like the cool radio voice and not having a voice. This one's called To the Bone. Yeah, I was born with a fork in my throat. Daddy took me fishing on a motorboat. Mama asked, couldn't find the notes. Yeah, brothers thought I was the star of the show. I'm stuck with myself, nowhere to go. Life's a campaign, can't get no votes. I know what I want, what I need to know. It's time to split and ditch Ohio. I went back and I read the words I wrote. Some I recognize, some remain unknown. No more fucking around, this ain't no joke. This life, it cuts me down to the bone. I can't save the world, can't save my own. I can't believe how the days have flown. Letting go of the seeds I've sown. I made peace with dying alone. Thank you. This next one is called The Shield. I wrote it shortly after Chris Christopherson passed away, so I was like, kind of like channeling, you know, that sort of little talk saying that he would do. So, countless days and nights ruminating, trying to solve the puzzle, frustrating. Do we set a trap and hunt it down? Do we let it go and hit the town? Love is understanding when it makes no sense. Love is accepting, giving up the defense. Love is letting go of the second guess. Love is holding on when it feels like there's nothing left. Life's slinging arrows, we built a shield. The apple's poison, our lips are sealed. Yeah, I need words to end this line. Searching for peace from our mind. Love is understanding when it makes no sense. Love is accepting, giving up the defense. Love is letting go of the second guess. Love is holding on when it feels like there's nothing left. Don't let tomorrow tear us apart, or let the past shut out our hearts. 'Cause love is understanding when it makes no sense. And love is accepting, giving up the defense. And love is letting go of the second guess. And love is holding on when it feels like there's nothing left. Thank you. All right, one more, then break.
Sure, yeah.
Good. This is my anti-country song. It seems like no matter what, they have to sing about drinking, doing this and doing that. No matter what, it just has to be. Even the artists that I know they're sober, but they're still drinking about all this. So this is Do What I Do. Yeah, I don't sing about cigarettes 'cause I don't smoke. And I don't sing about laughing because I don't joke. And I don't sing about whiskey because I don't drink. And I ain't singing about you 'cause this song isn't what you think. And I don't think about heaven when I die. And I don't think about the names of the other guy. And I'm not worried about yesterday or what's to come. And I'm not worrying about trying to be someone. And I don't sing about breaking 'cause I ain't broke. And I don't sing about the I love yous that I never spoke. And I'm not singing about feelings I haven't felt. And I'm not singing about issues that I haven't dealt. And I don't sing about shotgun shells and pickup trucks. And I don't sing about tailgates or red Solo cups. And I don't sing about spending a night in jail. And I don't sing about working with a hammer and a nail. And I don't worry about the what might have been. And I don't worry about making the same mistakes again. And I ain't singing to earn my next meal. And I'm not worried about trying to make a deal. Yeah, I'm singing about love, I lost and found. And I'm singing about burning it all to the ground. And I'm singing about living a life honest and true. And I'm singing this song for me and you.
Thank you. So another hand for Nicholas Hall, folks. Thank you. Thanks so much for being here. So we're going to take a quick break for about 10 minutes or so. Avail yourself of some snacks. Avail yourself of the merch table as well. And we'll come back and we'll have the open mic. If you haven't signed up yet and you would like to read, the open mic sign-up sheet is up here on the front chair. Thanks so much. We'll be right back. Thanks again to our features, Christine, I see her in here, and Drew Coomer. They're being amazing in the other room.
There's still selling books out there.
Also, our musical guest this evening, Nicholas Hall. I get tripped up, not because of her name, but because is it Nicholas Hall or Nicholas Graham Hall?
Well,
I know.
right,
Nick Hall.
The stage is Nicholas Graham.
Graham,
Hall.
okay, right. Those three name guys. Thank you, I appreciate that. So thank you all for being here, for sticking around. We're going to do our open mic now, and just real quick. The way we do this is I leave the sheet up here. Why is it so complicated? And then just introduce the next person on the list, if you would. And I'll start things off with Hiromi Yoshida.
Maybe a poem that I published recently, and this is about, a person whom I think we've really wanted to never see or hear about ever again, but no such luck. It's called POTUS 2017-2021. The president was a painted puppet. Orange, then corpse white. The president was a non-entity, an empty pinata, a void, a stake-holding placeholder, a cancerous signifier accumulating fat cells from Big Macs. Big food for the big man with small hands. $1 million piranhas gnawed away at his pasty Achilles' heels. Greenly envious, his head an overripe jack-o'-lantern, leering down at the downsized earth, a mineral which clawed in his small, tight fist. Dollars and cents rolling off the crude executioner's block into the unreachable crevices of the dream we call America. Thank you. Next up is Tonya Matthew.
Yeah, thank you. Since the moon is going to be eclipsing tonight, I thought a couple of moon poems would be appropriate. Moon, autumn evening. My neighbor's tall maple lifts a fistful of fire. My sweet gum and his tulip tree glow amber-like. The new moon, just a sliver, goes down against the pale blue and yellow sky. The trees become dark shapes against the sky. For one instant, the moon is held, then I'm left in the empty street, only the fragrance of leaves in the air. On our minds. Last Sunday, after a piano concert, there was snow. On Monday, after chamber music, there was sleet. And tonight, coming out of the poetry reading, I am surprised by the moon. She'll be full early tomorrow, unwrapping the gray clouds around her and shining out at me. I turn to the west, an empty, luminous blue. Earlier today, the downtown hot dog seller asked me how I was, and I asked him, how's business? Have people stayed away because of the weather? We both looked up. There were still gray clouds massed overhead, but he said he was expecting a tropical breeze because, after all, it is Indiana. And we both laughed and I moved on. Weather and the moon are on all our minds. Full moons illuminate, and this one, warns a local astrologer, has a whole crew setting up the Klieg lights. Sun, Venus, Uranus, Mars. The moon walks me to my car, checks on me at each intersection, and waits for me behind the tulip tree in my neighbor's backyard. I can't say the same for the poetry, but you can't have everything. And our next reader is James Dahl.
Hello, Mike. This is not a poem about the moon but the moon will be red, so it's about red. Red as in red, the vampire's choice, red as in blood, red as in Dracula, Carmilla, others, but that's off the point here. A crummy pun, not even overly clever. Makes you see red, but red for vampires is lipstick on lush lips, their kiss so enticing, surrounding white shark teeth, red also for passion, and not just blood either, but rife with temptation. Let that be a red flag. Next up, Mary Anhauser.
Hi.
Hello. I write under the name Claudette Bourgier, and I have two little vignettes. These are completely in the opposite direction of everything we've heard tonight. They're gonna make you, if I do it right, laugh. My first day of school was so exciting. I had a new dress and a brown paper bag for my lunch. My big brother Jerry was very reluctantly showing me where to go. We were assigned to a combined class of 1st through 3rd grades. Jerry would have been much happier had I stayed home. Sister Mary John, the toughest of a lot of tough nuns, was responsible for the 1st graders. She brooked no nonsense in her class. I was in trouble from the moment I walked in that door. Sister started us off with some simple rules. Raise your hand before talking, speak when you are called on, stand up straight, no fidgeting. There sure were a lot of rules. Our first assignment was to tell our favorite nursery rhyme. My hand shot up and I bounced to my seat. I know. When Sister called on me, I said my name and started to tell my nursery rhyme. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and 3 little girls sitting in a chair. Silence. No, that is not correct. I couldn't believe it. She was telling me that my dad had told me wrong. Of course, I had to stand up for him. Sister went on with the orientation, getting most of the children to tell their rhymes. I'd been raising my hand almost frantically. I wanted to show her that I knew many more. She finally called on me and I shot out of my seat. Little Jack Horner sat in the corner eating his Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "Oh, what a mess am I?" Again, Sister frowned and said, "No, that is not correct." I was furious and unfortunately let Sister know it. The other kids were scandalized. Hollering at a nun was surely a mortal sin. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to the door of the cloakroom where she pushed me inside. It was pitch dark and I was very scared. I knew I was in big trouble for hollering at Sister, but had no idea of how bad it would be. She would definitely tell Mom, so I knew that there was a spanking waiting for me at home. Finally, my tears slowed down to sniffles, and I started to think about where I was. We had all stopped in the cloakroom to put our lunches away. I felt around in the dark and found the shelf with the lunches. I thought about the cookies Mom said she would put in our lunch bags. A cookie, chocolate of course, would do wonders for my situation. I quietly opened the first bag and felt around inside. There was a cookie wrapped in wax paper. I opened the paper and stuffed the cookie in my mouth. Chocolate chip! I ate it fast and went on to the next bag. Sure enough, there were 2 Oreos wrapped in a piece of paper towel. I started to feel like hollering at a nun was not necessarily a bad thing. When I got let out of my prison after about an hour, I was full. I had plundered at least 10 lunch bags and found cookies in 8 of them. I went back to my seat and quietly opened my 1st grade reading primer. I was surprised to find that it was just ABCs with 1 word and a picture for each letter. I'd been reading since I was only 4. Jerry, in one of his rare tolerant moods, had taught me to read while he read the funnies. If school was going to be this easy, I knew it would be okay. When lunchtime finally came, Sister had us all get our lunch bags from the cloakroom.
I wasn't hungry at all, but would have to eat my sandwich or Mom would wonder why. Peanut butter and jelly, my favorite. The other kids were opening their bags and talking about what their mothers had packed for them. One little boy looked in his lunch bag and started to cry. Mom said she would give me a cookie. I felt bad for about a minute, but was glad that I had learned something important on the first day of school. Always get in trouble before lunch. It was the summer of 1976. I was spending the summer vacation in Bryan, Ohio. I had first been there that spring with a dear friend of mine. Even though I had been in Bryan jail for 3 days, I liked the town so well that I went back to work in my favorite restaurant for the summer. It was called Your Father's Mustache. The waitresses dressed up in long, old-timey dresses with colored ribbons tied around our necks. We all felt elegant and old-fashioned. In addition to the restaurant, I had a part-time job at a local bar. I had a bit of a crush on the bartender and wanted to stay as close, as much in his orbit as I possibly could. Patrick was Irish and had the most beautiful, lilting accent. I could listen to him read the beer menu all night long. On a rare weekend off, Patrick asked me to go frog gigging with him and a friend of his named Jeff. Never having been frog gigging before, I had no idea what it entailed. On the scheduled night, I met the guys at the bar. They were dressed in black and wearing high rubber boots. Patrick had brought me a pair of his sister's boots that were a little bit bigger than my feet. I slid around inside of them but could keep them on my feet if I curled my toes. We drove out into farm country and stopped at a small woods where the pond was. It was as dark as pitch. It smelled like wet, rotting wood. Since I was the newest gigger, I had to carry a garbage bag full of beer, an empty garbage bag for the frogs, and a big flashlight. It was hard to keep up with the guys, but I struggled along behind them. It's amazing what you can do if you are deeply in lust. We finally got to the pond, and the guys picked the best place to catch the most frogs. We could hear them croaking as we approached. I set down the beer and walked to the edge of the pond to see the frogs. There was quiet all of a sudden. At first I didn't see any, but when my eyes adjusted to the dark, I could see small shapes on the water. The guys each popped open a beer and quietly discussed how best to proceed. They agreed that I should hold the flashlight and snap on the light when they told me. I was prepared to do my part. They each had a trident in their hands. They walked up to the shore of the pond and surveyed the surface of the pool. Patrick snapped out the order, "Now!" I turned on the light and illuminated a big bullfrog. Patrick thrust his trident into the frog and it cried out, "Eep!" as the trident pierced his body. Patrick swept the frog onto the shore and I held out the bag to receive it. There was still a little kick as he fell to the bottom of the bag. My job was to keep the frogs in the bag until it was time to separate the legs from the rest of the body. Jeff told me to be ready to flash the light again. Hanging on to the bag, I turned on the flashlight and illuminated another big frog. Jeff stabbed the frog with his trident. The frog cried out, "Eep!" as the trident hit its mark. I held out the bag and received that second frog. This went on for about an hour when the guys decided that we had had enough. I was not looking forward to the next task, which was to cut off the legs and throw the rest of the body away. Patrick had a sharp pocket knife ready for the first operation. He grabbed a frog out of the bag and cut the frog in two, right above the legs. He then cut off the feet and pulled the skin off a pair, like a pair of green pants. The blood was a rich red color and made the legs more slippery than before. They rinsed off the legs in pond water and threw the severed bodies back into the pond. This process went on for each of the frogs in the bag. Pretty soon we were all covered in frog blood, mud, and pond scum. It was really yucky. The frog bag kept getting lighter as more frogs were separated from their legs. The beer bag was also getting lighter as the guys fortified themselves for the messy task of harvesting the frog legs. When all the frog legs were ready and the beer bag was full of empty cans, we trudged back to the car. I wondered how we would prepare the frog legs. We drove back to the closest town that had a restaurant that was known for their pancakes. The guys had done this before. We left our muddy boots at the front door and went in to talk to the cook. We worked out a deal that for a portion of the frog legs, the cook would deep fry the frogs after coating them with pancake batter and garlic. In no time at all, we had a pile of fried frog legs smelling strongly of garlic. I had never eaten frog legs, so wasn't sure I was going to like them. It turns out that they are delicious when prepared the right way. I've eaten lots of frog legs since that first time. They were always delicious, but never as good as that first taste of the fried legs made with pancake batter. This held true, even in France, where frog legs are a true delicacy. I never went frog eating again.
Next up, no, it's fine. Next up is Wendy Cartwright.
Morning Hazal. Tart sour locks up churning guts, relieved only by bitter in the back of my throat. Hold on. Chased with sweet nicotine, deep breaths, ruminations, and all I can think is, hold on. Marching band in my skull, sousaphone bells clang against one another in rhythm, hold on. With clarinet reeds chipped by preteen braces and too little spit, just trying to hold on. Fists clenched around palms full of air, the only way I know to hold on. This is called Rainbow. I'm not red or blue. I'm indigo, chartreuse, and vermilion. I care about the State of the Union, and I do what I can do. But I am well aware that there is very little that I can do. I enjoy the roof over my head, the ease of private transportation and electricity. Gluten makes me sick, and specialty foods, such as meat, are often above my pay grade. So I eat less because I'm upside down on my auto loan, but I can't let it go back to the bank because I have to get to work at the factory where I make lemonade. Next is Brian Price.
Hopefully get out the right pair of glasses. Got two poems. This first one wrote this week after hearing the wonderful, I'm not sure what it was between Zelensky and Trump, but anyway. This is called Red Dawn Redux. It was 40 years ago or so, and we went to the movies. Got the biggest box of Junior Mints and that giant tub of extra buttered popcorn. The Russians parachuted in. Nobody saw it coming. They wrecked the football game. They shot the mayor. The brave kids scattered to the hills. I wanted so bad to join the Red Dawn gang, fight the Cold War, set traps for the bad guys, wrestle with Patrick Swayze, make love to Leah Thompson, or was it the other way around? And here we are, 40 years later. The Russians have landed once again, this time in the Oval Office. There's a beachhead down around Mar-a-Lago. We'll have to get that Red Dawn gang back together again. But I wonder, after all these years, with our stooped backs, hemorrhoids, early onset dementia, whether fried possum will taste just as good, whether we'll remember the passwords to the drones, or even be able to shoot straight, much less recognize which enemy is which. This is kind of, my dad's not doing too well, so this is sort of for him. It's called Monoxide. My father's first new car was a 1963 Dodge Dart station wagon with a 170 cubic inch slant six engine and push button automatic. That's when the 2-week cross-country vacations truly began. I would lay in the back seat watching the tops of telephone poles and waving to truckers to honk their air horns. Wah, wah. You need some air back there? My father would ask, and he'd crank down all the windows, and the Dart sucked in the fumes just as fast as they spewed out the tailpipe. That kid sure sleeps a lot, my father used to say. And way too many times, we'd have to pull off to the side of the interstate, and my father would say, that kid sure pukes a lot. This is what the industry didn't say. I don't even know if they knew. Quote, the most common symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are headaches, dizziness, weakness, upset stomach, vomiting, chest pain, and confusion. CO symptoms are often described as flu-like. If you breathe in a lot of CO, it can make you pass out or kill you, end quote. I don't feel so good, I used to say. My parents would look over their shoulders. Curl up front, my mother would say. I'd scramble between the seats and lay my head in my mother's lap. It was such a sweet, sweet poison. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that did not get an opportunity who would like to read something in the open mic? Otherwise, that's it. All right, thank you all for coming this evening. I want to once again thank our features, Drew Coomer and Christine, as well as our musical guest, Nicholas Graham Hall, who, I want to mention, Nicholas has a show, as a split art show here at Backspace Gallery in May, so you'll be here for the first Friday, which I think, is that the
May 2nd.
May 2nd. And you'll be playing here sometime during that month.
Yeah.
We're quite sure on the date, but sometime that month.
The next, the 16th is, 2 weeks from the open, yeah.
So 16th of May, you'll be back here playing?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for being here. And thanks to our open micers as well. Please join us back here in April for our features, Thomas Neelan and Marilyn Wolf. It's going to be a fantastic show. Thank you all for coming. Nicholas is going to close us out with one last song,
Yeah.
I think, and then send us home. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to fill for a little while. I'm going to keep talking while Nicholas gets his acts out of the case. This is what they do in radio land. You do this, and you stretch it out, keep talking, because dead air means no one's buying soap. Oh, I'm sorry. It's chaotic night for some reason. I'll keep filling as long as you need some assistance to fill.
You want to put the mic up? I'll actually stand up.
Oh yeah.
Actually, can you raise the mic? Go ahead.
Oh, you want to do a stand up?
See, I either raise the mic or I lower the
Stand up fight?
or I lower the
Right.
stand up. So since I'm sorry, your name? Yeah, in the purple, sorry.
Oh, Claudette.
Claudette, she added some levity to the evening. I gotta sing my
I have to, right?
I gotta sing my funny song. Although the song I said I don't make jokes, I don't make many, but sometimes unintentionally. Drew, you remember when we went to the Americana Fest? What was that? Was that like 2000? 19 or 20. I mean, I think it was pre.
Like 1920?
Yeah, like just before COVID. And I was just starting to write and play, you know? And then you go to the Americana Fest, which is in Nashville. So it's just loads of singer-songwriters from all over there. And it was just, I really hadn't gone to a festival like that before. And I was just, you know, you're at home writing, you're like, oh, that's a good song, that's pretty good. And you go there and you're like, fuck. So this is called Gone. This is my response to, fuck, there's a lot of talent out there. Can't really play this here guitar. Never expected it to take me too far. Never claimed to have much of a voice. But if I want to sing, I don't have a choice. Learned my reading, writing, and arithmetic. Was never any good at magic tricks. Too much time worrying about my looks instead of keeping my nose in them books. So I went ahead and I wrote this song. You're welcome to sing along. But if you don't, it won't be too long. Just 2 more minutes and I'll be gone. I had no skills with the ladies, but they still managed to drive me crazy. I always felt like I didn't belong. My friends took a right while I took a wrong. I got a degree for counting beans. Learned the numbers ain't what they seem. Wanted to be a star on the stage, but I felt like a dog stuck in a cage. So I went ahead and I wrote this song, and you're welcome to sing along. But if you don't, it won't be too long. Just 1 more minute and I'll be gone. Maybe an actor in Hollywood, but I knew the odds, they weren't that good. Or a model in New York or Paris, that's just a little bit too scary. Corporate life gave me more than I'm needing. Got me so numb I didn't know I was bleeding. Knew it was time to stretch my wings. Live this life, whatever it brings. So I went ahead and I wrote this song, and you're welcome to sing along. But if you don't, it won't be too long. Just a few more seconds and I'll be gone. I got my encore ready. And I'm gone. Good night.